So Ja'Lynn Polk just tweeted like.
So I have it. You want to see it?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't speak Gen Z. But like this whole like peace out sort of thing, does this mean what? He's like quitting the team? Like, I don't understand.
I don't know, but Ja'Lynn Polk has been the most surprised I have ever been by a rookie in terms of like what I thought they were going to be personality. I'm not saying he's a bad guy or anything, but like he was touted as like a leader, a future captain, like one of the toughest dudes in the program. I haven't seen any of that since like the first week that he got here when he was, excited and like leading the receiver lines. Like this is bizarre. I don't know what that means, but considering you just had a bad game, you said that you weren't playing poorly when you were playing poorly. And now this, like, bro, get off your phone. Stop talking so much. I like to praise what people do, but like, bro, you're a rookie.
Ahmed putting in the Max Letterman style of lower third, which I support. I like it.
Oh my God.
I like it. This is the type of shit that Max would do on NBC when we gave him a little bit of extra room to operate. Yeah, look, this is what he did. The zero catches drops. I don't know if they go down as drops, but a ball hits an NFL receiver and he puts two hands on it. Those are drops. And then he falls on the goal line as well. You could even say 3 drops on 3 targets. So yeah,
for a dude who's supposed to be a ball magnet, like yes, if the ball touches your hands, I don't really care.
I will say this, Taylor. I agree 100%. Polk acts like Polk's behavior resembles a 32-year-old formerly elite wide receiver whose skill set has left him and he can't come to grips with it anymore, and he's holding on to what he once was and continuing to act like it, demanding the ball, bitching and moaning about things, pretending things that are issues aren't issues. That's what he acts like. But he's a 22-year-old, 23-year-old who hasn't done a freaking thing in the NFL. Depending on whether you're a next-gen guy or a PFF guy, there are some people that rank him among the worst in the league in separation here. So not only is he not getting open, he's dropping the ball. He's got all sorts of problems. And again, to go over what he said, this week, which earlier after in the criticism of Jerod Mayo saying he's got some mental issues and the drops are an issue, to say he's got the best hands of the leagues and the thing that's obviously an issue isn't anymore. And then the first friggin' play of a game, have the ball hit him. First opportunity he has to make a play, ball hits him in both his hands, and he drops it. And then he did it again. Just a brutal day. And here's Mayo after the game kind of calling out Polk again.
Polk, we need more concentration. He'll be a good player in this league. Just got to continue to work at it.
And I know everyone's like, oh, Javon Baker, get Javon Baker out there. Guys, Javon Baker is a healthy – not in this week it wasn't a healthy scratch, but like this is a guy that's been a healthy scratch. What do you think is happening behind the scenes with Baker that's any different from Polk? It blows my mind when people do this. I know it doesn't blow my mind. I understand. You get frustrated. You want the shiny new toy. But Javon Baker has been documented to have been struggling in an even more compounded way before the whole Polk thing even started. Why do people think that Baker's going to be better when he struggled with drops and focus and not having trust from the quarterbacks and coaches going all the way back to the summer? What are we doing here? I know why we want it, but let's be realistic, please. I don't like that one. The poor guy got a concussion. I don't like that one.
This one kills me.
No comment.
Oh, crap. There's more to it.
But 2 balls in Javon Polk's, 2 non-catches. They rule 2 drop. If you got the list, you make those catches. That's absolutely true. And again, the Baker thing, I have seen, even in practice, I'm not trying to be a jerk here, but the focus drops show up sometimes in practice when they're just going through drills. I've seen them drop some stuff. I think they're going through these mental hurdles, and you get that. Rookie receivers in the NFL, you need to have a lot of confidence to play this position. Remember Jamar Chase the preseason where he couldn't catch a cold?
Yeah, and then that's why I didn't draft him. He fell from a 3rd rounder to a 6th rounder in the draft, and then he caught everything. But yeah.
But confidence in getting – and even Alex Van Pelt said he thinks success is going to be what gets Polk out of this slump. That's just the nature of especially being a young receiver in the league. I just think neither one of these guys has much of a reason to be confident. And then even Kayshon Boutte, like I think a big reason that he had this jump is because one, didn't have the legal situation hanging over his head, but finally had a coaching staff that pushed him and actually gave him a chance and believed him.
I know, but best time to hit an app like Game Time is after a bad loss, okay? Because there might be some people like, yeah, I'm going apple picking next week, and I get it. I get it.
Don't blame them.
You want to keep wasting? Do you want to waste a Sunday like this? Some people don't. You know, if this was a family outing and you were bringing the missus and the kids, yeah, honey, we're not going. We're not spending 14 hours on Route 1. But you might want to. So get in, check out that Game Time app, download it. CLNS, $20 off your first purchase. So here's where we're at now, and this is where like you can blame the players. And again, is it fair to cast judgment on somebody and who they're going to be for their entire career because they had a rough start to it? No, but you'd like to see something or see anything that shows you that there's more to come, right? And Polk has, like, what's the opposite of checking every box, right? Like, it's really bad, which is such a far cry from what we saw in you. There was reason to believe coming out of training camp that he'd be wide receiver 1 on this team. Yes. Like in terms of volume of passes thrown his way, overall production, Pop Douglas might have been the most explosive playmaker on that team, but because of him, as we said, playing mainly in 3 receiver sets and being a little guy and, not being, he didn't have the profile of the type of guy who's going to get fed nonstop, even though, again, I think you got to figure out a way to do more because that you don't have a lot elsewhere. That's a separate story. Polk's been exactly the opposite. And so you just said it earlier, and this is what's going to start. People are impatient, Tayler. Like people don't want to wait till year 2 and 3 to find out that Tyquan Thornton is Tyquan Thornton. You kind of want to look at him and say, we missed. Because you know why? You know what's worse? Going into next year and thinking you're okay at receiver because you drafted 2 last year and addressing other parts of the ball. And then going into Drake May's 3rd season as a pro without any friggin' reliable pass catcher on the team. And so sometimes you don't have the benefit of time. You've got to make some quick judgments and you got to see something. If you're 7 games into it, if you have a receiving core that's this uninspired, we're talking about KJ Osborne, Kayshon Boutte, who's a 6th round pick, Demario Douglas, again, who are performing above their draft status in their slot, and you go spend prime draft capital on a 2nd rounder and even a 4th rounder who might have slipped to the 4th, but might have had a 2nd or a 3rd round grade in terms of talent. They can't see the field on this team. Bad sign. Like you would rather be able to run these guys out there and live with the warts. They can't even do that because they're that right. You're doing it with Polk. I don't know for how much longer. And Baker can't get on the friggin' field. Thornton's gone. He's gone. It's over. It is what it is.
It's over.
It's over. It's been over. They tried again. We tried to buy it a little bit. He put on some muscle. He started the season as their ex, gone. He's gone. So you can't even try the other guy. That's bad. And you're not wrong. It probably is the right move from a personnel standpoint, but it's bad. Like, it's bad that that's the case.
I mean, it is. And I also don't want to play the game of like hindsight of, Polk was a terrible 2nd round pick. We only know what we knew at the time. There were no reports like,
he was a terrible 2nd round pick.
What did I say?
No, nothing. I'm sorry. I'm going to contest that a little, but go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, well, at the time, I didn't really remember a whole lot of pushback from like evaluators. Most people were saying that he was someone that wasn't appreciated enough because he had the strong hands. And one, I do also acknowledge the fact that his role in this offense is not what his role should be in an offense. Like, he's not an X, he's more of a Z. But he isn't playing that well, so they've been making.
Is that what he was talking about? There's some stuff that you guys don't know.
I think
he's talking about.
He said like limited. He's been limited. I think that's it. Like his route tree hasn't really been something that really suits his skill set. But it's like, well, he's also not earning an opportunity to be that Z because Kayshon Boutte has been that guy. Maybe switching them helps a little more, but Kayshon Boutte's also 5'11". He's actually shorter than Ja'Lynn Polk, about as thick, but he's not as big. So you're kind of just stuck with like, you have to put your best players in the best position to succeed, and they don't have an X. And Ja'Lynn Polk is really the only other guy they can put out there. Maybe they have to change that. I don't know. But like, I'm trying to look at the other receivers that were taken around the same time. And honestly, let's see, we'll get this draft. What did you want to push back against, though? I'm curious.
Oh, it's not a pushback as much as what was the point at that point we were talking about? Oh, I'm sorry. At the time of Polk, look, I always do think this. There's not just one thing that you can do to be a great receiver. I was a little bit worried about Polk, and I'm not saying this to like, oh, whatever. I was a little bit worried about a guy who's a second or third option on a college team going against a bunch of defensive backs that will never whiff the NFL and still being the most alarming thing I found about Polk's numbers last year that was celebrated as a strength, I actually viewed as a bit of a weakness, which is he led college football in contested catches, which I think is bad because the people he was contested by are not NFL caliber defensive backs.
I watched a lot of those throws, though, and I will tell you, Michael Penix Jr. is a big reason for that as well. Like the weird, remember how we were talking like, oh, Drake may have somebody to help him from the spray misses because you kept seeing that in college.
I know. I'm saying is like,
but also, yes, he was not a great separator, and that is true.
Similarly to how I like my, quarterbacks to have some mobility, which is why the Mac Jones pick I thought was doomed to fail. Like, yeah, you can, if you're Greg Maddux, you can throw an 86-mile-an-hour fastball, but you can't. Most humans can't. If you're Tom Brady and you run a 5.4 40, that's fine because you're Tom Brady and you're the best pocket manipulator with the greatest vision and the greatest brain in the history of sports. That's a lot to ask for somebody. Unless you are those things, your ceiling is a little low. And so that's kind of the thing is, your ceiling is somewhat low if you're a guy who's a contested catch guy and can't really separate at the college level when you translate to the pros, and it's going to be extremely difficult to separate. So now and it'll be harder to make contested catches against these guys because they're also very physical and they're going to go after the ball as well. So I didn't love that because you really want playmakers, not like more playmakers that can stress that can stress the defense some. I didn't know if he fit that profile. He still could have ended up being Puka Nacua or someone like that, who plays with a greater game speed than he does on film, and he catches everything and he's a reliable target. He isn't that second part. And when you're not the first part also, yeah, it's easier to catch the ball when you're wide friggin' open, but almost every ball today, there's people around him,
when he is at X, again, I agree. Like, that is not the best place for him, but like, I've done so many compilations on my Twitter. This guy, like, he can get open. It's not like he's got guys on his back all the time. It's that when you are at that isolated receiver spot, you're usually going up against the other team's best corners. That is not where Ja'Lynn Polk thrives. If you do have him as that more number 2 option, again, I've shown it. Like, he can create separation. It just feels like when he separates, he either doesn't get the ball or he doesn't catch it. And then in the other times, again, he's not really being put in the best position to succeed. So, like, I don't think this was some horrible – I mean, in retrospect, I think maybe we can say that because based on this whole Instagram post, like, I don't know what's going on with him. But in terms of skill set, like, he can be a good player. I think they just need to do more to at least help him out a little bit. But also, he's got to give them reason because if I'm going to put you at a position where the point is for you to block well and be aggressive at the point of attack, and I'm seeing you get blown up, I can't put you there. Keyshawn Booty's been the one who's actually putting that work in and making the tough blocks and, springing big plays, not as much recently in the run game because that's just been bad, period. They can barely get past the line of scrimmage. But, it's a tough position because it's like, Polk, play more, and maybe you'll get more opportunities and roles that suit you better.
Yeah.
Because there's only so many snaps to go around, especially when you've also got Kendrick Bourne back in the line.